In case you haven't heard, Seattle is building a lot of transit. By 2026, the 62-mile Link light rail system will connect northern, eastern, and southern suburbs across the Puget Sound. For the most part, Link uses elevated guideways and tunnels to provide fast and frequent service, akin to proper metro systems found elsewhere. But through the Rainier Valley, one of the most culturally diverse parts of the Seattle region, trains slow to 35 miles per hour as they make the trek up Martin Luther King Jr. Way. In about a year's time, the southern leg of the One Line will be extended to Federal Way, some 20 miles from downtown Seattle. Link trains will cover most of that distance, speeding along elevated guideways, but they'll lose any speed advantages as passengers contend with the slow and deviatory route along MLK. To counter these low speeds, stations are spaced far apart, but this means today's One Line skips many of the Rainier Valley's residents for the benefit of those traveling further out. Sound Transit must find a way to create a better local service for the residents of the Rainier Valley, while also providing fast express service into Seattle for riders in South King County. Asking the existing line to do that is like asking a librarian to fix your plumbing. It's just not going to work. We need One Line more. What a good segue! This video is an entry for Classy Whale's One Line More competition. If you want to check out a bunch of other armchair urbanists setting billions aflame for transit projects of questionable value, take a look at the links in the description. The light rail corridor along MLK Way was part of the original Central Link line, which opened in 2009. When the line was in planning, Rainier Valley communities demanded it be put in a tunnel under MLK, citing the heavily tunneled alignments which were ultimately constructed through denser and wealthier North Seattle communities. Instead, Sound Transit pushed through a street-level alignment to save costs. The agency bought up properties all along MLK to widen the boulevard and make room for tracks down the middle, turning the street into a combined road transit thoroughfare. This design is fairly typical of light rail systems across North America, but it's not without its issues.
2 people killed by a light rail train this evening in South Seattle.
Collisions with cars, and worse, pedestrians, on MLK have been all too common since Link's inception. Flashing signs to prevent accidents have been installed, and crossing gates have been suggested, but these solutions can only go so far. Sound Transit's planning guidelines have now been updated such that all future extensions are fully separated from car and pedestrian traffic. But on MLK, where a crash occurs every 40 days, already low train speeds are proposed to be further lowered to an abysmal 25 miles per hour to improve safety. When combined with a planned infill station at South Graham Street, this would lengthen trips for One Line passengers traveling further south. To get into downtown more quickly, Link trains from the airport south could bypass the Rainier Valley entirely. The obvious way to do this would be to construct a more direct, elevated line paralleling the Duwamish River. Using some napkin math, this could cut travel time between Tukwila and Soto down from 25 to 15 minutes, making the line competitive with driving and a suitable replacement for express buses on I-5. This would also fittingly leave the One Line with one grade crossing, inching it ever closer to full rapid transit status. But what about the Rainier Valley, you might well ask? What happens to MLK? Well, exuberant viewer, I promise we'll get to that, but I want to talk a bit more about this bypass line first. Currently, the South Seattle neighborhoods of South Park and Georgetown are 2 of the most isolated in the city. They're surrounded by industrial sites and face heavy pollution and poor transit access. Highway 99 runs like a scar through the middle of South Park. Can you imagine having to use this bridge every day to get to school? I thought I was going to be kidnapped or die of lung cancer just filming this. In recent years, pressure has been building to remove the highway entirely. Local residents have developed visions which could open up land for new public spaces and housing. The right-of-way vacated by the removal of the freeway could be the perfect chance to run an elevated light rail line right into the heart of South Park. A station at Cloverdale Street would provide walking access to many of the neighborhood's homes and businesses while creating new development opportunities. Such a light rail line could then cross the river to emerge along Corson Avenue, with a station adjacent to Georgetown's commercial and residential center. From there, industrial rights-of-way could be repurposed to create a corridor feeding right into Link's Soto Station, where the line would continue to run down existing and planned light rail tracks to Ballard. This interlining would actually improve service here by enabling trains to run every 3 minutes or better through the core of the route. Currently, the intersections on MLK limit the One Line to a train every 6 minutes. Okay, back to the Rainier Valley. From now on, I'll refer to this branch of the One Line as the Valley Line. With the entire tail of the line south of MLK chopped off, this segment of link could focus on what it does best, being an urban tramway. Lowering the speed limit for this portion of the line would be much more appropriate. Beyond that South Graham infill station, this could mean additional infills at streets such as Orcas and Kenyon to improve neighborhood access to the line and stimulate housing growth. Alternatively, as has been proposed by many, the line could be fully grade separated, either by elevating or tunneling along the boulevard. The benefit is that the massive closure required for this project would not impact riders south of MLK, who would continue to use the new, more direct routing into Seattle. Now, what to do about the other end of the Valley Line? Rainier Valley riders might be a bit miffed at losing direct airport access, so we'll give it back. When Central Link was originally in planning, it was supposed to run into the heart of Tukwila in the middle of International Boulevard. Unlike on MLK, though, local opposition succeeded, and the line was rerouted to run via I-5 as we know today. However, recent development on the International Boulevard corridor makes such a line as compelling as ever. The Valley Line could interchange with the One Line at the abominable station location of the planned Boeing Access Road infill. We'll add a once proposed but now forgotten Sounder infill as well to improve connections. The Valley Line would then swing into the heart of Tukwila along Tukwila International Boulevard to meet the One Line again at its station of the same name. From here, trains could take over a planned airport busway to replace shuttles between the rental car center and the airport, ending below the existing SeaTac station. Thus the One Line, a line already set to be split in two by the late 2030s, could be further drawn and quartered. Its Frankenstein-esque route could be reorganized to optimize different segments for different roles. The construction of a bypass would allow the One Line to function like a proper suburban metro, at the same caliber as the rest of the link system. The Valley Line would improve local connections in the Rainier Valley through new stations or grade separations that would improve access and safety. Transit riders in Georgetown, South Park, SeaTac, Federal Way, downtown Seattle, Ballard, and of course the Rainier Valley would all stand to benefit. This line would be a grand slam for the Puget Sound region. We'll just have to wait and see how long it takes for Seattle to get building.